Rev up your engines!
Well, here's one from the horse's mouth. A guy working at a Toyota dealer saying that, Jesus, they really can't sell these electric cars. Matthew Keogh Jr. sends me a letter and says, had an interesting conversation with a salesperson at my Toyota dealer. I asked if they had any electric vehicles, and he said they had two, but both are going to wholesale, and they don't want any more. Thanks, Matt. Well, thank you, Matt, for sending the information. What dealerships do when they can't sell a vehicle, they send it out and sell it wholesale to get less money, but they get it off of their hands. Because a lot of people don't understand. Here's how car dealerships work. They don't own the cars on the lot. They get a gigantic loan for millions of dollars from banks, and they are paying on the car just like you. Every month they have to pay on the cars they haven't sold. So let's say they got an electric vehicle. It sits there for a year. They made 12 monthly payments, and they didn't sell the vehicle, so they've lost that money. And these guys are like, let's wholesale it out and just get it off the lot. So they won't make any money on a deal, but at least they won't keep paying month after month for a car that nobody wants. People don't want electric cars, especially Toyota people. Hybrids, yeah. Toyota's numero uno selling hybrids, right? They've been making Priuses for 20-something years. They're pretty dependable now. Phenomenal gas mileage, no range anxiety. You know, if you're a real electric fanatic, you could get a Toyota RAV4 Prime where it could run up to 50-something miles on electricity, but then it reverts to the gasoline motor, and then you can go like 450 miles or so. So you don't get range anxiety, right? This is from the horse's mouth. Yeah, you know, we got a couple of EVs here, but we're sending them out in wholesale. We don't want any more because nobody's buying the things. And that's Toyota that has a reputation of quality, right? Can you imagine what it must be like at Ford and GM and Chrysler that have a horrible reputation? Who's going to buy their electric cars? Well, as it stands today, the first month of 2024, Ford is losing $36,000 on every electric vehicle they sell, so they're cutting the production of their electric vehicles, especially the Ford F-150 electric vehicle. They are cutting their production numbers in half. Now, they only sold 24,165 of these electric trucks last year. And if you're curious, the regular F-150 series sold 750,789. So, you know, 25,000 or so out of that is a spit in the bucket. Now they're going to say, hey, they're going to make half as many because people don't like them. They are not what truck people want. As soon as people came out with electric trucks, I said, this is the dumbest idea on earth. Now, in the beginning, all the people I met who bought electric trucks, whether they were Ford or Rivian, whatever, it was generally their first truck ever, and they wanted an electric truck. They thought, let's see what it's like, right? All the truck people I know, and I know thousands and thousands of them, almost every single one said, Scotty, I'm not going to buy one of these electric trucks. I can't tow far. I get stuck in the middle of nowhere. I want a reliable truck that I can get in. A lot of truck guys are pretty savvy. They'll buy a used truck, and they'll drive it a long way and still get their money's worth, right? You can't do that with electric vehicles. You know, I've seen people buy Toyota Tundras, Ford F-150s with 200,000 miles, driving to 400,000 miles. You buy an electric truck like that, the battery's going to probably cost you 20 grand. It's going to go out real soon. People don't want these things. And now Ford's like, oh, golly gee, I guess we're going to make half as many, and they didn't sell that many in the first place. Think of it, 750,000 plus trucks they sold, and only 24,165 of them were the electric F-150 electric vehicles. They're going to get it in their head one of these days that people don't want this stuff. And the media pours on it. You see the advertisements on TV and the football games pushing all this, blah, 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 right? And they're losing a fortune for every single one they make. People don't want them. Now, if we're going to be logical about it, maybe small vehicles, okay? Start small with electric vehicles. I have customers that have Chevy Bolts that have different electric small vehicles, like the Smart Car electric vehicle, and they like them because they live in the inner city and they only go a little way, and they're happy with it, right? But don't try to sell it to us masses, especially pickup people, because they're not into it at all. Well, here we go with the absurdity of charging stations in the United States. Believe it or not, in the United States, so far, they forked out $2 billion in subsidies to make charging stations for electric cars, right? So far, only 2 EV stations have opened up. And the hilarious thing is, the Biden administration is setting up rules that makes it even harder to deliver EV charging stations. The bureaucracy is all everywhere, throwing $2 billion into it. They've only built 2 because, you got to hire a union wage. You got to do this. You got to do that. Blah, 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 right? They're ruining their own idea of building these stupid things with their own bureaucracy. Listen to this. The government is adding social justice and union mandates to make the build-out of charging stations even more complicated than they already are. They have rules for everything. States have blasted it. Florida's transportation department said projects are stifled by guidance that stations be 50 miles apart. Pennsylvania had restrictions that they can't build stations with less than 4 charging ports. The Dakotas and Wyoming all begged for relief from Buy America requirement for steel and iron components, which the agency waived temporarily last year. And get this, half of the grant money is set aside for, I quote, disadvantaged communities that are marginalized by underinvestment. Okay, if they're poor people, they're not going to be driving electric cars around, right? It'd be like opening up a Saks Fifth Avenue in the middle of the poorest section of town, right? The poor people don't have any money to buy it, and the rich people aren't going to drive into the bad part of town to buy their jewelry, right? So, I mean, it's absurd. These people, they're beyond living in an ivory tower. They're now on another planet entirely. They say, we got to build all these charging stations, but here's all the rules, and we're going to put them in places where people don't have any money. They won't use them. And, of course, people who are traveling, if you travel a lot like I do, right, I know where the bad parts of town are. I'm not going to the bad part of town to eat or to get gasoline or anything like that, right? I'm going to go to a nice open area where there's lots of lights and, nice area of town so I can eat at a nice restaurant or something. I'm not going to go to the bad part of town to charge my electric car. Of course, I'm not buying an electric car, so I don't have to really worry about that. Now, here's an article I read. I can't resist. It's in a thing called Car Buzz, and it's titled, "The Fiat 500e deserves to succeed if Americans are honest with themselves." The Fiat 500 was a massive failure in the United States. At one point, the second or third year, I think they sold 55,000 of them. And the last year they sold them, I don't know, they sold less than 300 or 200 or even less than that. Fiat last year in the United States only sold like 455 cars of every single one they sold in the United States. Every model, right? Now, this guy who wrote this article got to be out of his mind. He must not understand anything about cars and Americans. The 2020 Fiat 500e, their little electric car, it starts at $32,500 for that little tiny piece of crap, right? Its claimed range is 149 miles. So we know what that means. If it's cold outside, it would probably go 60 or 70 miles. How can I pay that kind of money for a vehicle? It doesn't go that far. That's tiny little thing. You drive that thing by those big semis on the road, let me tell you, you probably get home, call somebody up, sell that car and get something that's got a little more steel around it so you feel safer while you're driving down the road, right? Well, this clown who wrote this article, he just thinks, well, Americans need a car to drive around town in, blah, blah. Hey, okay, I could understand if it's a Chinese-made electric vehicle that's little and costs $10,000, but not an Italian-made one known for the worst quality in the world for $32,500 as its starting price. And of course, it's not going to get the tax break because it's Italian-made, right? It's not made in the United States, so you won't get that tax rebate on it. Sometimes I just can't believe these ideas that people come out. Americans should embrace the Fiat 500e. Buddy, you don't know anything about cars. Read a little about car history, the history of Fiat in the United States, how it was a massive failure, and its acronym was Fix It Again, Tony, because they were always breaking. Anybody that would say, Americans should embrace this electric car, I think this guy needs to have his head examined, right? Unless he's just being paid by Fiat to say, it's a great idea, America. Go buy these little electric Fiats. They're cute. Oh, yeah. They're Italian-made. They'll fall apart in front of your very eyes. The one thing Italian cars are notorious for are the worst electronic systems in the world. And these are fully electric cars. So you can't make this up. It's so hilarious. A Ford dealer, even a Ford dealer is suing Ford, saying they acted in bad faith, right? Anderson and Koch Ford is now being allowed to sue the automaker Ford because they say they acted in bad faith. Turns out that Ford originally had an agreement to sell Anderson and Koch a location to add to its portfolio to become a Ford dealer. They sued Ford under gender discrimination law, saying, hey, judge then dismissed the case. Said, well, the two sides only reached a verbal agreement on a sale, and that is an illegal contract. Well, obviously it wasn't in Texas, because in Texas, a verbal contract is legal, so we know it wasn't in Texas. But now U.S. District Judge Patrick Schlitz says that they can can in fact sue Ford, saying that they breached the franchise agreement that they had. Even Ford dealerships are suing Ford. Now that's a bad sign. It's bad enough that the people who buy them and they fall apart, then they sue Ford because, well, your transmissions blew up, the Broncos, the engines blew up in the V6s because they had crappy valves from some crummy factory they used in Ohio, right? Well, now Ford dealerships are suing Ford for breach of contract. Hey, let me tell you, there's a mess at Ford Motor Company. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.